Hi, it's Mitch from Pickdawgz.com here with the free pick in the Alabama versus Missouri college basketball matchup on Tuesday, January 16th, 2024. If you like all the free picks we do at Pick Dawgz, you'll love our premium picks, our best bets. Use the discount code PICK for 15% off. We also have the Dime Club and Sharp Trading Plays. These are meant for people who make big bets. If that's you, go ahead and text that number you see on the screen. They're not available on the website. But let's get to this one. Alabama taking on Missouri. It's SEC college basketball action. Alabama entering this one 11-5 on the season. And while that sounds like an impressive record, after last year's run at Alabama, it just doesn't seem like it's like the Tide are quite that good. But I'll tell you, this team is super talented. And when you dig at the numbers, boy, these guys have the potential to really do some big things if they can get it rolling. Tide are 7-1 at home at Stedman with a 6-2 mark against the spread, 6-4 straight up in their last 10 games, while Missouri just 8-8 on the season, but 4-12 against the number, 2-2 straight up and against the number on the road. When we look at this Missouri team, I just think that they're not quite the same team that we saw last year. And we know with Gates in there as head coach, you would think that they would have just reloaded and rebuilt, but it really hasn't been the case. And when we look at Missouri's recent, play, they are just 1-6 in their last 7 games. These are games against the tougher teams. They did have wins against Pitt and Wichita State, but since then, the loss against Kansas that they covered the spread, then the loss against Seton Hall and Illinois that they did not cover, and then they have not covered in any of their SEC games, losing to Georgia, at Kentucky, and at home against South Carolina. So it has been a very, very rough run here for the Missouri Tigers. And like I said, I think Gates is one of the top coaches in college basketball. But if you don't have the guns, you don't have the guns. And when you're playing in the SEC, well, look out. And we see Alabama coming off that big win in Stark Vegas over Mississippi State. They were a 1-point dog in that game and won that game by 8 points. They had beaten a good South Carolina team prior to that, holding the Gamecocks to just 47 points after a game that was a bit of a struggle at Vandy. We saw them out of conference losing against Purdue, Creighton, and Arizona. So while that looked like a 3-game losing streak, and of course they had lost to Clemson prior to that with a win against Arkansas State kind of sandwiched in between. So they had, at that point, they had lost 4 out of 5. But look at the schedule and who they played against, and none of those games were at home. So I think you got to cut the Tide a break, and that's why I kind of really liked them against Mississippi State this past weekend. The Alabama defense has been very, very solid, both at the perimeter and on the floor. Facing that gigantic schedule, sometimes when you look at these national rankings, it's tough to really decipher. But we know that Alabama's played the big schedule, so those numbers are actually probably a lot higher than what they actually rate out to be. In the offense, same story. This is the 13th best three-point shooting team in the nation, shooting 39.2% and 48.8% from the floor. I think Alabama's just way too much. And while we have this gigantic number here and we haven't seen the Tide really roll it up on anyone, this could be it. I'm going to take Alabama, lay the big number, and that's going to be my free pick. Of course, while you're doing your picks, putting your bets in, use our free betting tools at sportschatplace.com. They're 100% free, and they'll help put you on the most favorable bets on the board today.